5G network in the U.S. You can get unlimited talk, text, and plenty of high-speed data for just $30 a month. If you're ready to cut your wireless bill in half, dial pound 250 and say keyword spend less, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Again, dial pound 250 and say spend less, and make the switch to Pure Talk today. Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Wall Street drifted to a slightly higher close as trading remained light on this holiday-shortened week. Markets are holding on to modest gains for the week so far, and the S&P 500 coming off its 8th straight winning week. There are just more than 2 trading days left in the year. Major indexes are on track to post hefty annual gains. The S&P 500 up more than 24% for the year. The NASDAQ, which is heavily weighted with technology companies, is up 44%. The Dow up 111 points today, closing at 37,656. The NASDAQ gained 24 to 15,099. The S&P 500 added 6 points to 4781. New York oil fell $1.46 to $74.11 per barrel. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Not as chilly this evening with a low dipping to 45. Tomorrow we'll start off with some clouds, but get nicer as the day moves along. Look for a sunshine-filled afternoon and a high of 61. Friday and the whole weekend looks very nice, but cooler with highs in the 50s and lows in the low 30s. I'm Callum Moss with your On Point local weather. Answering the call. Running in.
When everything feels has run out. Pushing yourself beyond your known limits to help. Living. To tell the story, visit scvolunteerfire.org.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblum, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome into Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network on Wednesday nights as we count down towards the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, Florida. We're in front of Dana Beach, Florida. Once again tonight, this is where Clemson is set up. This is where Clemson is practicing. This is where Clemson had another workout this afternoon. We were over there for that, our first chance to have a open look at the Tigers in their camp here at Fernandina Beach. We got a chance to watch about 15, 20 minutes of special teams work and some stretching, and then we were able to do some interviews after practice was over, which ended at about 5:20, 5:25. So I was able, really wanted to just hear from the new defensive ends coach, Chris Ruff, who was made available to the media for the first time since rejoining the Tigers. So we'll bring that to you tonight. Had to leave after that to get back over to where we're set up to broadcast. So we got that for you tonight. And tomorrow, the two head coaches will have the typical pre-bowl press conference beginning at 11 o'clock in the morning over at Everbank Stadium. So we got a ton to do tonight. Pat Daniel is off. We have Josh Cohen back at our studios in Columbia. And we welcome back from his extended leave of absence, but a successful one at that, because he got a chance to relax on the beaches of Hawaii and then get over to see his Coastal Carolina Chanticleers win a bowl game. We welcome back Chris Bergen to Sports Talk, all rested. I'm sure he's got a little bit of a tan going and probably feeling pretty lazy right now, huh?
That lack of sleep, I think, still is the note of the day. I've already taken a nap today, got up about 5. I'm still trying to adjust to the swings and time changes. When you go out to Hawaii, it's 5 hours behind us here in the East Coast, and then you come back, and we flew overnight, Christmas night, into yesterday. So I'm still trying to figure out what time zone I'm in, but I won't say it's good to be back because folks would think I'm lying, and I would be to leave Hawaii, but it is good to be back on Sports Talk. I will say that.
Well, it's good to have you back, Mike. My number one question is, how's Finn? How did Finn greet you? How did he deal with his extended absence from his parents?
Speaking of exhausted, Finn he's currently sleeping and not where he normally is here in the game room with me. He's out on the full couch in the den. So, yeah, he gets a chance to play a good bit at the donkey daycare that we take him to here in Florence. So I'm not sure he gets a whole lot of sleep. Lost his voice as well. Heard him try to bark at some of the neighbors. It sounds like a fan at the end of a football or basketball game, how everybody's hoarse. If your team's doing well, that was Finn earlier today. So that was funny. But thank you for asking, though. He's in good shape. But, yeah, good trip out to Hawaii. It's an amazing place. It really is. And Coastal played, just to the football game perspective, Coastal played about as well as they had played all year, especially defensively. Led 17-0 in the early moments of the fourth quarter. And this was a San Jose State team that had not been shut out in the opening half in nearly 3 years. The last team to do it was Southern California back in 2021. But the Chanticleers were outstanding on defense. And I spoke with Shane Bruce, the linebacker for Coastal, on Friday, right before the game. And he said that James Madison beat down when they gave up 50-plus points and were just never in that ball game to end the regular season. That really left a sour taste in the defensive players' minds and in that locker room. And they came out to prove something, and they certainly did. I mean, they manhandled San Jose State for most of the game. And you know how Bulls are, Phil. Once momentum shifts, it's hard to get it back. And to Coastal's credit, I mean, it was a 17-14 game. San Jose State worked in 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. And then Sam Pinckney, Greenwood native, playing in his last game for Coastal, may have had the most ridiculous touchdown catch I think I've ever seen. A one-handed catch in the back right corner of the end zone. Most of you probably missed it because I'm guessing that occurred around 1:30, 2 o'clock. So I was watching. Yeah. I yelled for everybody when he made that catch. Yeah. Were you down on that side of the field? Did you get a good up-close look at it? I was on that end of the field, but on the Coastal sideline. So the touchdown he caught was on the San Jose State sideline, but I had a pretty good vantage point of it. Evidently, I have made the rounds on Twitter, or at least Facebook, because I actually called a touchdown that Ethan Vasco threw into Kendall Carr in the end zone, right corner of the end zone, back in I guess it was the third quarter. Trying to remember. No, it must have been the second quarter. It was 7-0 at halftime, so it must have been one of Coastal's the other touchdown in the third quarter that he caught right in the corner, hit the sidelines and the pylon at the same time. They reviewed it, and I said, "Guys, that's a touchdown." It was literally right in front of me. It was about 5 feet away, so I had a pretty good vantage point of it. But yeah, Coastal, to their credits, after just a really, really poor performance and poor showing against James Madison, they had enough time to change it up, and they played really well. And also considering they lost so many guys to the transfer portal, you lose a wide receiver who's a tremendous playmaker in Jared Brown. He was not available, didn't make the trip, getting ready to join the Gamecocks. Grayson McCall did make the trip, never suited up, didn't play, but he was on the sidelines trying to motivate his former team now as he's off to NC State. But I thought Vasco played very well, but you tip of the cap to Coastal's defense. That's what won the game for them.
Is Vasco going to be the quarterback moving forward? He's a young guy. He showed a lot of good stuff with his arm and his legs. Is he going to be the heir apparent?
It's hard to get Tim Beck to agree on much of anything. He plays his cards so close to the vest, and they feel pretty confident in one of the guys they signed. Guy out of in your neck of the woods, as a matter of fact, one of the quarterbacks they signed last week from the Bulls school down in Jacksonville. They're pretty high on him, but I would think going into the spring, clearly Ethan is the guy, because not only have you lost Grayson McCall, Jared Guest is also transferring out of the program, so he's the one with the most experience returning. Now, whether or not he's able to beat those guys out in the spring and in the fall remains to be seen. But I would say if they played again this coming Saturday, obviously he would be the starter. And to me, he's the heir apparent going into next season. And what that means between now and then, nobody knows.
Okay, we got a jammed up, crammed up, busy show tonight with a lot of great guests and a lot of terrific audio. And we're going to have tonight football filibuster. Governor Hodges, Attorney General Wilson back for their bowl picks. We're picking 15 bowl games. So that gives them a chance in the football filibuster. And our pick'em contest with our esteemed panel of pickers, we have 15 games to pick. We'll go over our picks tonight as well. I think I can cram that into what we're doing tonight. 7:05, Chuck Reedy, Ellis Johnson, another edition of Chalk Talk, the bowl edition. Looking forward to hearing from them. 7:35, Coach John Combs. We talk some basketball because it's big basketball week in South Carolina. You got the Chick-fil-A, which began, and the beach ball, which began. So you got two primo national elite high school basketball tournaments underway in the state. And so we're going to talk about that as well. Got some recruiting for you coming up. Also, I mentioned we'll hear from Chris Ruff. If possible, we'll get to some of those comments from the Kentucky offensive coordinator, Liam Cohen, from yesterday. We didn't get to it last night. Time permitting, we'll get to him sometime tonight as we try to work that in. But I want to begin at the beginning. How about that? I want to start with the return of the Terry Kennard story with Dabo Swinney and Clemson. So as you, just to refresh, on his Facebook, going back to early last week, I think it was, Terry Kennard posted on his Facebook complaints about Dabo Swinney's treatment of his son, Jaden, who, is it Jaden or Jalen? Jalen, I think it's Jalen, who was transferring and I think headed to Coastal Carolina as a defensive back. But Terry Kennard, the former Clemson great, one of their all-time greats in their Ring of Honor in football, in their Hall of Fame, and a great NFL player as well, and a great high school player at Sumter High School. Just great. He took umbrage to what he was told, some things that his son told him that Dabo Swinney allegedly said to his son during practices here in the bowl practices, and apparently upsetting his son to the point where he goes to the dad, and the dad posts some stuff on Facebook. And at his bowl press conference, Dabo Swinney was not asked directly during the press conference about that, but later had a question. He was asked by reporters, and they issued a statement from Dabo Swinney, which really he really didn't. He just basically, I think, denied saying anything harsh or directly at Terry Kennard's son. And so today on his Facebook, Terry Kennard with his son recorded a response to that. And at the first part, I'm not going to play because he's just kind of rehashing what had been talked about before, had his son kind of describe a little more in detail about what was allegedly said to him and what they were doing on the practice field that might have led to Dabo Swinney coming over and saying some things to the group and some specifically to him. But we pick it up with Terry Kennard talking, and his son is there as well. And he picks it up where he's talking about why he's going public with these complaints directed at Dabo Swinney, the Clemson head football coach, and what he believes is going over the top with language and attitude toward his son. Here's Terry Kennard.
These things are uncalled for. These are personal attack on a young man for no reason at all. This is when we thought we needed to come forward and say something, because the comments that he said to him, if he's not that good of a player, for running for accountability, there's no call to compound it and continue to belittle someone. These things we thought were out of place, out of line, and we had to call them out on it. We got a lot of negative comments, a lot of positive comments in regards to this effort. At no point are we attempting to do harm to Clemson University or to tear down Coach Sweeney? All right, me as a father, like I stated, in our statement, if your son comes to you and the coach is saying these things to him directly, there's no way I'm gonna let that go by. What he said was out of line. We didn't like it, so we made a comment about it. Regardless of how you feel one way or the other, Coach Sweeney, made some personal attack on Jaden, and we thought it was out of line. So we thought we had to come forward and make a statement on it. And after that, that wasn't all. I mean, during that same final practice, was there anything else that he said to you?
He would continue to just keep badgering me and throwing personal shots, but I would later tune him out, and then he would walk away and come back and say more things like, I have the ability to be good, but I'm just mentally weak. And he asked me, is the thing with you right now is just like you feel like you haven't gotten any opportunities? Is that what it is? And basically just badgering me about stuff like that.
All right, so and at that point, that would destroy the boat, became a bet. There was no reason for him to come and make this a personal attack on Jaden. For what reason? All right, we had made our decision. Jaden wants to play football. All right, but our main focus was for Jaden to first and foremost, to get his degree. All right, but he wanted to continue to play football, so we decided we were going to transfer. All right, so that's the only reason. We couldn't understand, why this thing was taking place towards Jaden, but it did. It happened, and it was uncalled for. And we thought he crossed the line in regards to the attacks that he made on him, because those kind of things, those kind of comments, make it to a young adult, they can do damage, to your psyche that he can never come back from. But Jaden has a support group around him, and the love of his family and friends, and for many, many, people that work at Clemson that did a wonderful job, took great care of him. At no point, did we ever feel that he was unwanted, from the staff and the people that surrounded Coach Sweeney. But for whatever reason, he singled Jaden out and made these attacks against him, and we didn't think it was right. And we thought we had to speak up. And as a father, I did what I had to do. All right. I know, there's a lot of people not pleased with the fact that, we came public with this, but he did these things in front of Jaden Peters. All right. So if he did this privately, then we would have handled it privately. But it was done publicly. All right? He was ridiculed in front of the teammates, and we don't expect anyone, any player or anyone that heard him say these things to Jaden to come forward, because that would be crazy. Because if he does it to Jaden, he'll do it to someone else. All right. We want to put this behind us, though. We don't want to continue to go back and forth. All right. We made this video. Whether or not you believe us, all right, that's up to you. All right. From this point on, though, we're going to go on and try to go on with our lives. All right. Try to find out the next chapter for Jaden. And we want to say thank you to everybody, that supported us. All right. And in hopes that we can put some closure on this and just go on and help Jaden to be the person that he want to be on the football field and off the football field. We wish Clemson, all the luck, but that's it for us. We're done, and we are not coming in on this anymore.
All right, Terry Kennard. And I mean, look, I don't know if this, obviously, I think it, in some ways, it's much ado about nothing, because what's the end game here? What can you possibly get out of this? Are you looking for some kind of a public acknowledgement, private apology? Obviously, Clemson's not going to do anything towards Dabo Swinney over this. It's not going to cost Dabo Swinney any recruits. It's not going to hurt Dabo Swinney from a prestige standpoint among the Clemson faithful. But it is newsworthy and noteworthy that a Tiger great has now twice gone public with this. The part that I left out, because the whole thing was a little over 7 minutes, the part I left out was about Jaden, his son, saying what the language that Dabo Swinney used, and it was profanity. And I could have run it, but I would have had to beep it out anyway. It begins with an S, ends with a Y, and the word was used. That word was used. He alleged, Swinney called him that word, and said that he lived that word life, and that he was practicing that word in that manner. And used that, I think, apparently with some of the other players that were designated to take part in this part of the practice because they had run afoul of some of the rules related to maybe academics or study hall or tutors and things that they once you, I think, you accumulate a certain number of negative points, you have to go through these drills. He was. And saying something about South Carolina if he had some sort of some complaint, or Jeff Grant or Marcus Lattimore, one of the all-time greats. Yeah. So, Sterling has.
I know. That's why I referenced it.
maybe not that severe, but that's to me why this is noteworthy. And I don't know. I don't know what they hope to gain from all this, other than this bit of notoriety.
I don't ever want to step on family. If Terry Kennard feels like his son Jaden was wrongly singled out, then that's his right as a father. He's protecting his son. I have no problem with that. The part that bothered me listening, if you go back and listen to what Terry Kennard had to say and just listen to his words, it wasn't that Jaden is looking at transferring. It was, we are going to transfer. And when I start hearing parents sort of include themselves, and again, Terry Kennard has already proven everything he'll ever need to prove on the football field, and so he's not living vicariously through his son, but it certainly sounds like that. And what, Dabo yelled at his son? Is that where we are now? You can't even yell at a player anymore without getting some blowback. I remember when Frank Martin was at South Carolina, what was the biggest criticism? He talked loudly to players. Heaven forbid, trying to get them better. And Dabo's probably looking at Terry Kennard and treating him differently because he's the son of one of the greatest players to ever step foot on that campus. Phil, if your son had decided to go into radio, don't you think some folks in our business would look and say, well, you're Phil Kornblut's son. You probably need to do it a little bit better than other people. I don't understand the end game here for Terry Kennard at all. And even if he feels like his son is mistreated verbally, it's not like Dabo didn't hit him, right? There's no physical abuse. Where's that old saying about sticks and stones break my bones, but words will never hurt me? You can't take some criticism and getting yelled at. Is that where we are with players anymore? And I don't know the whole story. I'm just hearing half of what Terry Kennard had to say, and I read what he wrote on his Facebook page last week when this news came out. But it just sounds like a father who saw his son not getting the playing time that he expected because his last name happens to be Kennard, and so he's upset about it. And I don't see the end game with this at all. Now, if Dabo had gone out and physically assaulted him, I've got no problem with him being upset. But he yelled at him and 5 other guys on the scout team. Give me a break.
Well, look, super sensitive. I'm not in any way, fashion, shape, or form comparing this to Northwestern. But
no, exactly
what happened at Northwestern
stuff. Yeah,
right. Not comparing at all. But I'm just saying that people are super sensitive to anything today when it comes to athletic teams and anything that a coach might do or say that can be construed as being across whatever line they want to draw. It's a personal line, I guess. Everybody's got their own, don't cross this line that I've drawn, and if you do, I'm going to erupt about it. So I don't know. This will be something, you heard Terry say at the very end, this will be their last comment about this. So I would imagine, unless we ask Dabo Swinney about it tomorrow at the press conference tomorrow, and I think I will, but it's not going to be about, I mean, he's already said what he's going to say probably about what's been alleged here, but I would like to know, has he tried to talk to Terry Kennard? From what I understand,
that's an interesting question. Yeah,
Jeff Davis is Terry Kennard's like best friend, or very close friend, maybe best friend. The great Clemson linebacker who's at Clemson. I saw him on the sideline today, and you would think that if there were a problem, that he would have gone to Jeff Davis and said, "Hey, Jeff, I'm having this problem. My son's having this problem with Dabo. Can you help me out here somehow?" Now, look, I'm an outsider. We're outsiders. We don't know the inner workings of the Clemson program, how this thing all goes. You have and I got to believe this isn't the first player at Clemson to be taken aback by something that was said to them by a coach, But this is, I think, one of the few times. Well, there was that time back like in the early 20s when you had a couple of players, and it cost Danny Pearman his job on the coaching staff. Remember that?
I remember that. Yep, sure do.
And they called out Dabo Swinney, and nothing ever came of it from Dabo Swinney's standpoint. Danny Pearman got reassigned for, from what I understand, just repeating a word that should not be spoken. But he owned his word because the players themselves were saying it.
But his word is the one we all know you can't utter. Period. That's a no-no, and that's going to get you into trouble. My guess is, as you pointed out, Dabo used some profanity, and again, talked loudly.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
now this is alleged by them. Make that clear. We weren't there. Nobody else has come forward to say anything. It's not like we're seeking out other witnesses in this particular case. But again,
speaking of that,
this is notable because of who it's involving. If this were some former Clemson player who was a third team never player, just wore a Clemson uniform, that'd be one thing. But this is Terry stinking Kennard.
Is there any player availability the rest of the week? I'd be curious to see if any of the current players had anything to say about that, because I'm sure they would.
I don't know. They had a bunch of them today, but I had to leave. So a bunch of players were made available today. This was it. So I don't know if they were asked about it or not. Probably not. Football filibuster's coming up after the break.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Not as chilly this evening with a low dipping to 45. Tomorrow we'll start off with some clouds, but get nicer as the day moves along. Look for a sunshine-filled afternoon and a high of 61. Friday and the whole weekend looks very nice, but cooler with highs in the 50s and lows in the low 30s. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Hey, who wants to make a resolution that they can keep? Let's resolve to eat better pizza. Come on, you can do it with the Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers. Let's start slow with the crust. We'll hand toss that spring water dough just for you. Then add the freshest ingredients and serve it hot. Now, lift it. You're doing it. It's a change of pizza lifestyle. Happy New Year from the Mellow Mushroom in the Vista and on Sunset in Lexington.
SRN News. I'm Keith Peters reporting a top U.S. delegation is meeting with Mexico's president about a surge of migrants reaching the U.S. southwestern border.
Mexican President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador says he's willing to help limit the surge as he's done before, but he says he wants to see progress in U.S. relations with Cuba and Venezuela, which are two of the top sources of migrants. Thousands of union members and activists are taking to the streets of Argentina's capital to protest President Javier Milei's sweeping program of cutbacks, deregulation, and austerity measures meant to reform the country's struggling economy. Unions had asked for a court for a prior injunction to block measures lifting some labor protections. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 111 points, the Nasdaq rose 24. More details at srnnews.com.
You don't normally call a plumber until you need a plumber. Well, if you need one today or if you need one tomorrow, I want you to remember Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. Listen, I might not know all the tricks to turning a wrench, but I do know how a plumbing company should work and how to treat people. My dad was a plumber. My grandfather was a plumber, and so were 3 of my uncles. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning does it right. They are the epitome of customer service. They're locally owned and operated, and Josh and his team, well, they put customer service as the top priority for Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. I've never known a business owner more intent on making it a great experience for people. And let's face it, when you have a plumbing crisis, well, that can be traumatic. They specialize in service and replacement issues for your home or for your business. They've been to my home and fixed 3 different plumbing issues I had in the house. If you need them, they're there to help. Online at franklinplumbing.sc.com or call Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning 799-2222. That's 799-2222. And tell them Kev sent you from The Point.
Dave Ramsey here. Do you want your money to work for you rather than you working for your money? Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank and have been serving the Midlands since 1936, offering good old-fashioned customer service and free services. They'll look out for your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Great things don't happen all at once. Big dreams take time. And when it comes to saving for college, it's those small steps that make a difference. I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 5 to 9 college savings plan is designed to be taken step by step. You can start with any amount, contributions are tax deductible, and earnings go tax free. So why wait? Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
Fran Halloran here. Now listen closely to what I'm about to say. I'm a business owner, and many of you listening right now, you're business owners as well. The first rule in owning a business is this: don't waste money. I see business owners waste their marketing dollars all the time. Not me. I figured out a long time ago that spending my marketing dollars at The Point was not only intentional, but extremely profitable as well. If you're a small business owner, you owe it to yourself to sit down with Kevin Cohen and ask him to create a custom marketing plan for your business. He's looking for folks just like you who believe in local to partner with him in 2023 and beyond. Trust me when I tell you, partnering with The Point works. You will see results and your marketing budget will no longer be wasted. Give Kev a call at 803-563-8558 and tell him the Money Coach sent you.
Welcome back, everybody, into Sports Talk Media Network, here on this Wednesday night, couple of days after Christmas, rolling towards the new year and rolling into the heart of bowl season. And for that, it's time to share with you the thoughts of 2 of the great thinkers of our time in South Carolina, 2 of the great political leaders, and 2 men outstanding in the field of picking college football games. We welcome in former Governor Jim Hodges and current Attorney General Alan Wilson. First of all, Merry Christmas delayed, and or I should say maybe after the fact. And Happy New Year to you, Governor. Welcome in, sir. Good to have you.
Same to you, Phil, and the General. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah to you, and Happy New Year. Really excited about what this bowl season is going to give us.
Absolutely. General, welcome in. Hope you had a great Christmas. Looking forward to a terrific New Year.
We had a wonderful holiday, Phil. Thank you for saying that. And I'm looking forward to the new year and all the new resolutions that we're probably going to break in the first 30 days. But also, I always love the way Phil introduces us, Governor. You know, these 2 brilliant political leaders and strategists. And I'm like, has he replaced Governor Hodges and me already with 2 new guys?
Well, you notice I didn't mention any current political front runners anywhere connected to our state, so we'll just kind of let it roll with you two guys for the time being. Considering the governor has run his last race, and typically, General, you don't have anybody running against you, so it's pretty much a walk in the field for you.
Well, it's certainly peaceful this time of year. I'll say that.
There you go. There you go. Well, we're going to pick 15 games, so there's bound to be some differing opinions here. Last time out, regular season, the two of you went 2-3 each, so there was no movement. Governor, 37-33, General, 34-36. So do the math. You're 3 games behind, or Governor, you're 3 games ahead. I understand that the keepers of the Corn Cup, with their white gloves on, they have moved the Corn Cup over to the governor's mansion there, wherever he lives is a mansion, and they've got it shined up and ready for retention if the governor's able to win out here during bowl season. Governor, your thoughts on that?
They are so confident in my success tonight that they have put it in the cabinet and they have locked it. That's how confident they are of my winning tonight.
Nice. Well, General, you've got to kind of live dangerously here, I'd say, just a little bit.
Hey, look, a lot of credit where credit's due. A lot of respect to the governor. I mean, he is great at this, at calling games. I've done this with him for a number of years, and I don't know that I never beat him, but I don't think I've ever been this close going into the final stretch. So the fact that I'm only 3 games down with 15 to pick tells me I'm still in the hunt, so I can live with that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Governor, have you never lost to the General? Have you never lost to the General in this competition?
I don't think so, but it's just with 15 games. You're right. It's just we're each bound to miss a few, and what adds more to it is just the fact that you don't know who's going to play in a lot of these games. Maybe finding out in the last minute, people are opting out.
Yeah. And Phil, in all honesty, some people are born with good looks, others are born with luck, and the governor got the luck. So
there you go. And you are a good bit younger there, General, so let's keep that in mind. The aging process really hasn't thumped you yet, so okay. But your time is
I'm a lot older in
But keep in mind now, the odds that we're playing with here were set when the matches were set, but this Florida State team that's going to play in the Orange Bowl in no way resembles the Florida State team that went 13-0. This is a JV Florida State team that's going to take the field against Georgia, and we got a lot of that throughout these teams. So, all right, let's get at it. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up. Let's go with Louisville against Southern Cal. Southern Cal is getting 7.5. General, we'll let you lead off here. Go right ahead.
Well, this one I thought a lot about, and I looked at at Louisville's record against the spread. And this is kind of interesting. They're 1-9 in the last 10 games and 0-2 this season against non-teams. But USC has such a bad defense, so I'm going to go with USC's bad defense on this one, and I'm going to say Louisville's going to cover.
Now, General, I have to penalize you for referring to Southern Cal as USC on these airwaves.
I just, as I said it, I realized it, and I'm like, okay, how many votes?
You cannot call Southern Cal USC in this state or on this show. How many times do I have to tell you? But you want Southern Cal. Did you say you wanted Southern Cal and the points?
No, I wanted Louisville.
You want Louisville, lay the points. Okay. Louisville, lay the points. Consider yourself thrashed for your misstep there. Governor, what do you think, sir?
I'm with them on that. They have their quarterback's gone, their defense is bad. I think Louisville is going to win this game by 10 points.
You both want Louisville. Okay, Governor, Oklahoma State Oklahoma State is getting 2 points versus Texas A&M. So Texas A&M's a 2-point favorite.
I'm going to take the mullet man. I'm taking Gundy in this game. They were spanked pretty bad in their last game against Texas, and I think they're smarting from that. He's a pretty good coach, and A&M certainly is having some transitions going on right now. I'll take the Cowboys.
So you want Oklahoma State? General, what do you like here?
I'm with the governor. The Aggies lost a bunch of players in the portal, and I think they're down to whether it's the third, fourth string quarterback. I can't remember, but I'm going to go with Oklahoma State on this one.
All right, both of you taking Oklahoma State. So far, you're not doing yourself any good there, General. Let's go to SMU and Boston College, and Boston College is getting 10.5 points. General.
Well, Boston's kind of got the home court advantage, and they're going to be playing in cold weather, which is what they're used to, and SMU's not. So I definitely feel like SMU will win the game, but I'm gonna say that they're going to keep it pretty close. So give me Boston for the points.
Okay. All right, Governor.
I'm going to take SMU. This is a matchup of new ACC compatriots here, but BC's not impressed me, and SMU's pretty darn good, so I'll take them.
You got them. Of course, they play at Gerald Ford Stadium, so maybe there's a little political connection there on the opposite side for you. NC State, Kansas State, and it is Kansas State is favored by 2.5. Governor, NC State, Kansas State.
Dave Dorn is growing on me in these games. I'm going to take NC State. I mean, Kansas State's pretty good, but the point spread's tight, and Doran does not seem to have lost a lot of players, and he's pretty feisty. So I'll take NC State.
All right, General.
Yeah, I'm with the governor. I know I'm not doing any favors for myself right now, but that's why God and Phil Kornblut invented amendments. I'm going to stick with NC State. Both schools lost a lot of players. I mean, the transfer portal and a lot of players are opting out. But I just think K-State lost a lot more players to opting out and to the portal than NC State. So I think NC State will cover.
Okay. General has done some homework during the holiday here. Notre Dame, Oregon State, General, and the Beavers, they're getting 6.
I'm going to go with Notre Dame on this. Notre Dame's got a better a better record against the spread than Oregon, and I really don't have a whole lot more to go into that. Other than that, I think then Notre Dame win pretty handedly against Stanford, and I think Oregon lost badly in their last game, and so I feel like Notre Dame's coming in with a little bit of momentum, so I'm going to go with Notre Dame.
Okay. Fighting Irish. Governor, you say what?
I agree. I mean, no DJ, no chance for Oregon State, so we're going to take Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Maybe DJ can transfer to Florida State in time to play quarterback for him. Maryland and Auburn. Auburn is favored by 7, Governor. Maryland, Auburn.
This is a tough one for me. I'm going to take Auburn. Hughes is a really good coach. And I think after the way their season ended with the Alabama game, they've got a bad taste in their mouth. So I'm going to take Auburn.
Okay. General?
I like I said, I'm going with the picks I initially went with. I know I'm not doing myself any favors, but I do agree with the governor on this one, and I picked Auburn.
Auburn. Again, you can amend. You can amend later.
Yeah.
Let's go to Wisconsin and LSU. LSU here is favored by 10 over Wisconsin, and I believe, General, you have the first pick here. Wisconsin, LSU. LSU favored by 10.
I think Jaden Daniels is going to lead LSU to a victory. Give me LSU.
LSU laying the 10, Governor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I think the LSU for me, too. I think LSU is going to win that one.
LSU laying the 10. All right, Governor, Iowa and Tennessee. Tennessee, Joe Milton opting out, going to play the freshman for the first time. They were favored by 8. Tennessee by 8 over Iowa. What do you think?
Does anybody care that Joe Milton has opted out? I mean, it's just he's not had that great a year. I mean, Iowa's offense is awful, but I think the defense is pretty darn good. And I think I'm going to pick Iowa here. I think Tennessee will win it, but 8 points seems a little bold.
Give you the points, okay, General?
Well, this is where I'm going to park the governor. I do think it is a bold statement, but I feel like an SEC Tennessee that's 8-4 against a Big Ten Iowa that's 10-3. I like those odds. I think Tennessee can cover the 8, and so give me Tennessee.
Tennessee, you have. We go to Ohio State and Missouri, and the Buckeyes. The Buckeyes here are favored by 1. General, Ohio State, Missouri, Buckeyes favored by 1.
Okay, so as you guys know, and I say this every time I'm picking for or against Missouri, I have a bias. My wife went to Missouri, and so I don't know that she's listening to this radio program right now. I hope to God not, because I'm going with Ohio State. This is the first SEC school I'm picking against tonight, but I feel like that's that +1. Ohio State, that is such a close. It was basically a coin toss for me. And I just feel like Ohio State has been in this rare air more than Missouri has in the last 10 years. So I'm going to go with Ohio State.
All right, Governor.
I'm going with Mizzou on this. I think this is a magic season for them. Great running back, good quarterback, pretty solid all the way around. And, of course, Ohio State lost their quarterback to the portal. So I'm going to take Mizzou in what is probably a little bit of an upset.
Yeah, that might be a good call. That might be. Let's go to Penn State, Ole Miss. And Ole Miss is getting 4 against Penn State, Governor.
Yeah, this is a hard one for me. A friend of mine told me today he was going to the Peach Bowl. He's got some connection to Penn State. I'm going to take Penn State. There's something about Ole Miss in games like this. I mean, we know Penn State plays pretty good defense, so I'm going to take Penn State.
Okay. General, what you got here? Penn State, Ole Miss getting 4.
I'm with the Governor again. I'm going with Penn State. I read a stat earlier that Penn State has only allowed 20 trips inside the red zone this season. I think they're pretty stout, so I'm going to go with Penn State.
Okay. We go to Florida State and Georgia, or the team formerly known as Florida State, against Georgia. Georgia favored by 14.5. I think that line probably has been adjusted upward quite a bit. General, what do you think here based on what we knew at the time? Georgia favored by 14.5.
Well, yeah. I struggled with this one. I know y'all probably thought it was a little easier. I do think Georgia's going to win this game. Do they win it by more than 14? I imagine the Governor may go the other way on this one, so I'm going to stick with Florida State. I do think Georgia's going to win by 10 to 14 points, but I think that they can keep it interesting.
Okay, Florida State it is.
I mean, this is the first undefeated Power 5 conference champion not to make it to the playoffs, is it not? I mean, they're not bad.
Yeah, but they've lost so many. Like, they don't have their quarterback, they don't have their top receivers, they don't have their top running backs, etc. They've lost so many players; they're a shell of themselves.
They have lost a lot, but I think they got something to play for. They can be the first national champion not to play in a national championship game if things break the other way for these other conference playoff schools.
They in UCF. And Phil, that line has moved. It's now 19.5.
Yeah, I figured, but I can't. We're locked in. When I send the sheet out, we're locked in. Yeah. Go ahead, Governor. What you got?
I'm taking Georgia. This Florida State reminds me a little bit of Phil. You'll remember this. Years ago, Hawaii had a pretty good football team and made it to like the Sugar Bowl, and everybody said Hawaii's going to do great, and they got the hell beat out of them by Georgia or someone else. I think this is a huge mismatch, and Georgia is upset about not getting in to the Final Four. I think this is at least a 3-touchdown game.
Yeah, both of them are kind of angry. Let's go to Oregon Liberty. Liberty getting 17 here against the Ducks. Governor, what do you think?
A lot of points, but I'm still going to take Oregon in this game. I think they're really good. They got pretty good defense, and certainly they can play some offense. So I'll take the Ducks.
All right, General.
Give me Oregon.
You want the Ducks. You got the Ducks. Both of you want the Ducks. Okay, let's go to Michigan, Alabama. Let's get to the playoffs. Michigan, Alabama, and Alabama's getting 1.5. General.
Alabama. This is a coin toss for me. Michigan's very strong. I just feel like Bama's been there before, and they've got something to prove. So give me Alabama.
Governor, Michigan, Bama.
I'm with him all the way on this one. I think Alabama, this is a team of destiny right now, and I think they'll beat Michigan.
Okay. Washington and Texas. Texas favored by 4. Governor.
I'm going to take Washington. I think Texas may win, but I just sort of think this is a field goal game. And great senior quarterback. I'm going to take Washington.
Washington and General Washington or Texas General. I want to say General Washington. General Washington or Texas.
Yeah, Texas jumped a lot of spots to be in this game. I'm with the governor on this. I'm gonna go with Washington.
Washington. Okay, that takes us to the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, noon on Friday. And General, it is Kentucky getting 5 against Clemson. What do you think?
I think Clemson clears it by a touchdown.
Clemson by a touchdown. Governor, what do you think, sir?
I'm with him on that. I think Dabo will have them ready to play, and I think they'll win it by a touchdown.
All right, let's quickly jump to amendments here. General, anything you'd like to change down the line here to give yourself a chance?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and switch my Michigan-Alabama, just because the point spread's so close. It's basically a coin toss, so I'm going to switch that one up. That gives us a difference of 5, right?
Yeah.
Sounds right. Sounds right.
And then let's see, where else did we got to mix things up a little bit?
How about Maryland, Auburn, or NC State? How about NC State, Kansas State? That's only 2.5.
NC State. Let me find that. NC State and Kansas State. Yeah. Let me go with that one. Give me K-State on that.
Maybe Kansas State on this. That's reasonable.
Pretty close.
I just think I picked them to make.
Yeah.
And let me pick. There's one more I'm going to pick. I'm going to get a little ambitious here. I thought that the LSU Wisconsin spread. I do think LSU is going to win, and I initially picked them to cover that 10-point spread. But since that's a little bit high, and just to keep things interesting, I'm going to switch LSU to Wisconsin.
Okay. That's another difference maker right there. Yeah.
I think the only other close one I see is Oklahoma State versus Texas A&M. But I think I'm going to hold it. I think we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different now. So I think we're pretty good.
Governor, how about you? You good with anything that you agree with the general? Anything you want to change?
I don't think so. I mean, some of these it's just hard to pick because of what people are going to play. These are all hard to pick in these bowl games. So I'm going to stick with what I picked.
Gentlemen, we thank you so much. Have a great New Year's. Good luck with your picks, and we'll see who wins the coveted Corn Cup for 2023. We thank you as always. Happy New Year.
Good luck. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to the two of you. We thank you. There you go. See if the general can make up the 3-game spread and get his hands, as everybody does. Everybody wants to get their hands on the Corn Cup. See if that happens. We'll be back after this break. Don't go away.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. That's the sound of a big hit on you and your car or truck. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years, helping people who get injured in car wrecks and truck wrecks. If you have serious injuries, call Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or email me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. That's CORBETT. I don't get paid unless I recover for you. Jim Corbett Attorney, for your best recovery from a big hit. 803-765-2968 or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
This year's Carolina and Clemson Jackpot $5 scratch-off tickets give you a chance to win up to $200,000, whether you're a Gamecock or a Tiger. Plus, you can enter your tickets into the Second Chance promotion for a chance to step on the field or the court to win $50,000, $75,000, or even $100,000. In this state, winning the Palmetto Series does matter that much. So get your tickets today. See SCEducationLottery.com for odds and details. Winning and non-winning tickets can be entered. Second Chance odds depend on number of entries received.
Touchstone Energy Cooperative members save more on electricity. And members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through co-op connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives. And as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
George Bryant here with Tsunami Bar Sports, and wow, Tsunami Robbie, there is now an amazing technology that you can use when you train receiving large game without having to endure pain. Please explain.
George, that is the magic combination. I have 3 simple words to define that entire concept. Stimulation, not annihilation. Regardless of your training goals, there is a level of stimulation that is optimal for your desired gains. Tsunami Bar's flexible bar technology meets these demands because the user determines the level of stimulation with the amount of speed and force they impart into the bar or training device.
Hey, this is Phil Kornbluth. The Tsunami Bar is a terrific training device, whether you're working on your fitness or your golf game. It's convenient, it's easy to use, and you won't feel beat up afterwards. Be sure to click on the digital ad on SportsTalkSC.com and get 5% off any order using promo code BBB5. Don't wait, order today. All right, thanks again to the governor and the general for being with us tonight for the another edition of the Football Filibuster. Their insights, for what it's worth, into this weekend of football. This note from Clemson practice, because I left before, as players were being brought over, I listened to Chris Rumph, did some stuff with him, but didn't get a chance to hear the players. But Antonio Williams, Chapel Fowler from the state, one of the reporters out there, has info from Antonio Williams, who's going to redshirt this year, will not play more than 4 games. So he isn't 100% healthy, but will definitely play in the Gator Bowl. Has a toe injury he suffered in October. How much he'll play, he says they'll see. They'll see during the game how much he can play. So having him back and having Tyler Brown, and having Tyler Brown and Brenningstool, and having Spector back, I believe he's going to be able to play in this one. I think Sweeney has said he'll be back able to play. I mean, that should be a nice boost to their passing game. That should help Klubnik in the passing game. But they're going to come out and run the ball. I think both teams are going to try and establish the run here. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game.
I would take the under. I don't know what I haven't checked to see what it sits at right now, but I think I would definitely take the under. I think, Clemson's defense is what it is, and Clemson's going to try and run the ball, have long drives. I'm thinking maybe like a 24-14 kind of thing. Top of the hour break. Be back in a moment. Don't go away.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF from the Bart Fireside Studio. The solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. The U.S. military shoots down a swarm of attack drones and missiles launched by Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in the Red Sea off Yemen.
According to U.S. Central Command, American forces in the Middle East destroyed 12 attack drones and 5 missiles fired by the Houthis over a 10-hour period on Tuesday. A surge of attacks by the Iran-backed rebels in recent weeks has disrupted international shipping, prompting the U.S. to assemble an international maritime security force to protect ships in the Red Sea. The Houthis vowed to continue their attacks despite the presence of the U.S.-led security force. Edwin Mora, Washington.
Several people have been killed after a Russian drone and artillery attack in Ukraine, which also knocked out power in a major southern city. Correspondent Karen Chamas reports.
Russia has fired almost 50 Shahed drones at targets in Ukraine. Russia also shelled a train station where more than 100 civilians were gathered. in the city of Kherson to catch a train to Kiev. The aerial barrage came a day after Ukrainian warplanes damaged a Russian ship moored in the Black Sea off Crimea. The attack on the Kherson region also struck the power grid, leaving around 70% of households in Kherson city without electricity during the winter cold, according to the regional governor. I'm Karen Chamath.
A top U.S. delegation is meeting with Mexico's president about a surge of migrants reaching the U.S. southwestern border. Mexican President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador says he's willing to help limit the surge as he's done before, but he says he wants to see progress in U.S. relations with Cuba and Venezuela, which are two of the top sources of migrants. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 111 points, the NASDAQ rose 24, the S&P advanced 6. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief, thank the pain relief. It's natural pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com, and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Hi, Rhett Rasmussen of BestHotGrill.com. Step up your grilling game with our Solaire portable infrared grills. Our compact everywhere is a favorite of RVers and trailer pullers. Solaire infrared provides the quick sear for bar marks and texture needed to properly finish sous vide. Use a portable alongside your larger conventional grill to create an instant sear zone and more juicy and flavorful food. Learn more at BestHotGrill.com. Affordable, powerful, portable infrared grills at BestHotGrill.com.
The New York Times sues OpenAI and Microsoft over the use of its stories to train chatbots. We hear more in this report from correspondent Julie Walker.
The New York Times says copyright infringements at the paper alone could be worth billions. In the suit filed Wednesday in Manhattan federal court, the Times said OpenAI and Microsoft are advancing their technology through the unlawful use of the Times' work to create artificial intelligence products that compete with it and threatens the Times' ability to provide that service. Media organizations have been pummeled by a migration of readers to online platforms. AI companies scrape information available online, including articles published by news organizations, to train chatbots. Julie Walker, New York.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting.
On Point weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Not as chilly this evening with a low dipping to 45. Tomorrow we'll start off with some clouds, but get nicer as the day moves along. Look for a sunshine-filled afternoon and a high of 61. Friday and the whole weekend looks very nice, but cooler with highs in the 50s and lows in the low 30s. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
As a kid, you dreamed of being a firefighter one day. Now, the opportunity is yours. Answer the sound of silence. Live your dream. Become a part of a team, a family. Visit scvolunteerfire.org to find out more.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Educational Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network on a busy Wednesday night. Lots to come your way, so stay with us all the way to the end tonight. Recruiting, some Chris Rumpf comments, catch up on some other news notes and things like that. Right now, though, it's time to dive deeper into this Clemson and Kentucky game, as well as the bowl season in general, as we welcome in for another edition of Chalk Talk, Coach Chuck Reedy and Coach Ellis Johnson. Great to have them with us once again, Coach Reedy. Good evening, sir. Hope you had a great Christmas, and welcome back. How are you?
Well, I did, Phil, and hope you did as well. Good to be back with you. You're down there in my part of That part of the country.
I was going to say Fernandina Beach, the home of Rick Stockstill. I thought maybe it was your home, but you're from St. Augustine.
Yeah. Jeff, and even more importantly now, the home of Terrence Flagler.
And he was at practice today. Terrence Flagler was.
I know that. Coach McCorby sent me a picture.
Yeah. Now, were you the recruiter in charge of gaining Terrence Flagler's signature back in the day?
That is correct.
If I'm not mistaken, your running back room after you signed him, that particular class was insane.
Well, we signed Terrence and we signed Kenny Flowers. We also signed the same year Steve Griffin, who was the player. We signed David Barnett, who was a player of the year in South Carolina, and Stacy Driver out of Griffin. Now, why we signed 5, I do not know. And trying to coach all 5 of them along with Cliff Austin and Chuck McSway was a little bit challenging.
How'd you keep them happy? There was no transfer portal. Of course, they could transfer, sit out a year, but I don't think, didn't they all pretty much stayed with you?
They all, well, like you said, there was no transfer portal. They did all stay. But did I keep them all happy? No, I'm sure that I didn't. There wasn't any way to keep them happy. But anyway, it all worked out, as it turned out. Of course, Terrence was a first-round draft pick. Kenny was a second-round draft pick. And, Stacy Driver had a great career. And, Steve Griffin, was a heck of a player. Just, he just got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. Let's welcome in Coach Ellis Johnson, who never had great players to coach back in his day. Welcome in, Coach. How are you?
Well, I was silent, but I do coach somewhere else. I didn't understand. I wasn't the smartest Chuck was.
You would hit the transfer portal. You were in the coach's portal.
Yeah, I got put in the portal 3 times. I think I'd have to go back and check money more than that. But it wasn't voluntary.
How was your Christmas, sir? Everything go well?
Everything was good. All 3 kids got in. I've got 3 kids in college. Anybody wants to donate to the NIL fund? But that was nice.
Great. Well, let's talk about Clemson and Kentucky. Chuck, from where you see it, Clemson, their offense, getting ready to play this Kentucky team. I think it's going to be 2 teams going to try and run the football a good bit, probably a low-scoring game, kind of lean on the defense. Clemson kind of play it like they did the Carolina game, where get a lead, kick field goals if you have to, play field position, hope your punter can keep them backed up, make them drive long field. What do you think? Anything there make sense?
No, I think you nailed it.
Okay. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Next question. I think they're going to do what they, the last 4 games of the year. They're going to, they're going to pretty much keep the ball out of Klubnik's hands. And I don't mean that, but they're not going to put the game in his hands. Let's put it that way. They're going to run the football and play to their defense. And that's been worked for them. And, I think it'll work for them again Friday.
Defensively, Ellis, Clemson loses, 4 starters off their defense. Do you see the potential of a drop-off there, or are their young guys good enough and ready enough to step in and fill the holes?
I think they'll make athletic plays, but I think it is a concern for the overall consistency and, playing consistent throughout the game. They're down to 2 scholarship corners to practice. And, either a little thing happens and one of those are out. They've got kids working over there just in case they have to go in that don't even play the position. And they play at some point in time. But I don't know. I watch all these bowl games. I'm watching North Carolina now. They're different football teams. They're not even the same teams without their quarterbacks and with some of their key players gone. Of course, we've watched this 4 or 5 years, and it's just the way it is these days. I think Clemson trying to run the football on that Kentucky defense will be a challenge. They can run it on about anybody, but I don't know if they can run it the way they did against South Carolina. Kentucky, that's where they're good. So it'll be interesting. I just don't know who all is playing. I'm not even sure that David Leary is playing. So you're going back to Kentucky. I can't keep up with all that.
Well, I read where Florida State and Georgia, between the two of them, there's been 40 combinations of transfers and opt-outs for the Orange Bowl. I mean, and you hate it, don't you hate it for the bowl game and
Absolutely.
for the fans? I mean, the teams that they're going to be there rooting for will only be their team in name only, because a lot of the players that were key for them getting there will be sitting at home watching it on television.
They're both two teams that have legitimate right of not being in the 14 playoff. And they, I think they got the right four, but those two guys could have been in there easily. And as soon as they're not, but a third of the great playmakers are gone. And fans still expect them to win a bowl game. And really, the coaches, what they're trying to do is identify some young players and get a lot of good practice time, and hope they can get some consistency out on the field.
Chuck, this is a situation that's just grown and grown and grown from the first time we had opt-outs, which I think goes back to the days of Leonard Fournette and what's his name, McCaffrey. I think. Yep. Yeah, I think those might have been like the first couple, and people just said, well, this is an individual thing. It's not going to really, grow into anything. And of course, like everything in college football, it always mushrooms over time, and more people now are allowed to do it. And there's no ramifications about doing that except what you leave behind. So there truly is no answer for this situation. You can't no longer tell the players not to leave to transfer, or not to leave to go to the NFL draft, or just sit at home and not want to play in a bowl game.
No, I mean, it's like you said, it's mushroomed, and the coaches now, I mean, they basically accept it, and I saw where Joe Milton's not going to play, and they said, oh, he's with us, he's going to be on the sideline. That's great, but they're going to have an opportunity to play their freshman quarterback. So, but no, I mean, I think the whole thing, the transfer portal, all of it. I mean, just there's just no commitment, no loyalty, like there was, maybe 8-10 years ago. I mean, all of that's gone. I mean, it's all about me and what's best for me. And, it's sad. It really is, because the game that Ellis and I have known forever, and you as well, Phil, it's gone. I mean, those things are gone, and they're not ever coming back.
Do you think, Ellis, you're right, we're going through this transition, and we don't know where this is going to land, but it's going to land one day, somewhere, somehow, in some shape or form, whether it's, complete professionalism. It already is complete professionalism, I guess, but more refined professionalism with some actual guardrails and rules and timelines where things can be done. Do you think when everything is finally put in place and you've got this college professional football league, that it's going to work, and we're going to find a happy medium here where people are still watching on television. They're watching the NFL. Like 30 million people watched the Raiders and the Chiefs the other day. People are still watching it, and that is the driving force behind everything, right? Is television. As long as the TV numbers stay up and the TV dollars keep flowing, where's the problem? Is that what people are going to say?
Well, at this point in time, I think every one the TV money is fine, but this thing keeps going the way it's going. On the money side of it, it's going to be like when I was about 5 or 6 years old. There's going to be about 20 teams in America, and nobody can play with them. I mean, Clemson and Carolina went out and played Nebraska in the late 60s. Go ahead and chalk it up for 50, 60-point butt kick. I mean, just that much difference. They were closer in the Sentinel than they were in Nebraska and Oklahoma. And it's going to do that again because they had all the money back then for different reasons. But now that the NILs opened up can of worms, they're going to have all the money for other reasons. What my concern on it is, and I know TV fans don't get on it, it's going to destroy the down levels of football from Group of 5 to 1AA and on down. It's going to eat it like a cancer. Now, what if Baker gets his way, he's trying to get it to where the schools can literally control the NIL money. When that happens, I think the next step, this is just me, and there's a lot of people smarter than me trying to fix it. Next step, they're going to make them employees. And then they're going to have some controls on them. And they're going to be able to cut some things or whatever else. But they're not like the NFL owners. They can't go to Congress as a business and ask for some antitrust laws and such. Congress doesn't have time for them. I don't know, it's just a mess. I think a lot of real intelligent people screwed up. And I think, like they always do. If they think Washington's going to solve it, check that.
Yeah, I agree there. Chuck, you were at Clemson with Terry Kennard. What do you make of these posts, first the written post and today a video post with his son about he's claiming that Dabo Swinney has singled out his son for harsh treatment at Clemson. And of course, the son is transferring, but what's your take on that? What do you know him probably as well as anybody from your coaching days?
Well, I know Terry very well. Terry's, a wonderful person, obviously was a great player. What I used to tell my coaches at Baylor and at Goose Creek or wherever I was, when you're dealing with parents, they're irrational. Don't try to be rational with them, because when it's their children, you're not going to be able to relate to them. The parent, it's a different animal. And, Perry, I don't know anything about what happened. But when it's his child, and he's going to be, totally, he's going to be irrational about it. I mean, that's just the way it is with your children. And, that's the way it is. So I don't know, like I said, I don't know anything about it. It was obviously it's been a very bad situation. But, it is, I don't know what to say about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Ellis don't know what he's hoping to accomplish by all this, because nothing's going to come of it from a Clemson standpoint. What are they going to do? They're not going to do anything to anybody about anything over this. So you just kind of wonder what he had in mind as an end game for this when they first posted on Facebook their complaints.
Well, I think Chuck already summed it up. He's a great player and a good man. I coached Gibson in high school. And, we were at camp together, opposing teams, and he's a good young man when he's there. It's just like Chuck said, you get a group of blinders. I've just now got kids in college. I coached for 30-something years before I had them in college. I go back and think of some of the things I said to kids now. I wouldn't dare say it to them. It's because now I'm a parent. I understand you just don't do that. And it's just part of it. But I will say this, and I'm not going to talk about it on the air. My son was in the same group. He got disciplined. And I know exactly what happened. And Dabo hasn't done a single thing unfair to anybody. Now, he may have some freckles, but if there's one thing Dabo Swinney is not, it is unfair or abusive or tough on players.
Good stuff. You want to continue, or is that it?
No, we're on the radio.
You're on the radio. You just did it.
That's what I said. I said I almost on the radio. But I can just tell you, nobody got mistreated.
Okay. Let's turn our attention finally to the Final Four, gentlemen, and what you see happening in the semifinals. Chuck, who you got playing for the championship? Did we lose Coach?
He is almost ready again.
Ellis, who you got playing for the championship?
I thought you were going to ask us. I thought, let me figure this thing out. I feel like that with all these players in and out, that was probably bowl games that are not in the playoffs. But these are playoffs. And it's kind of like the World Series when they have these playoffs and shot of threes, which is not enough for baseball. You don't know. Somebody's going to be hot and somebody's not. My gut feeling is Michigan's going to beat Alabama, Texas is going to beat Washington, and Texas is going to beat Michigan. I'm just guessing, but I'll be honest with you, I couldn't never had an unsure feeling about this more than do now.
Yeah.
These are all really good teams. Really good teams. They all got dangerous quarterbacks or either consistent quarterbacks. They're really good on defense. I pulled out all the stats on them today because I thought I'd get asked. I'm thinking, I can't find anything that sort of says this team's going to separate itself.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think, you could spitball for any of the four and come away with a good pick. Have we got Chuck back with us? Coach, are you with us? Coach Reedy? Is he back with us? Oh, okay. We may have to go because we got to go to the break. So I'll have to get him to text me his picks there for the Final Four if we don't get him back here in the next 30 seconds. Is he back with us or no? No? Okay. All right. Well, Ellis, how much football? You said you've watched every bowl game. Are you clued into every bowl game at this point?
Gosh, no. I've probably seen pieces of about 5 or 6. And, still, it's great to be able to watch football field. But, again, sometimes these teams, there are 2 or 3 players starting that hadn't played maybe 4 or 50 plays this year. It's just a whole different thing watching bowl season now with the way things have changed.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing with me, too.
Sitcoms, it's still better than watching sitcoms or WNBA, so I'm glad they're on.
You couldn't have left that out. But here's one thing I was going to say, too. Correct me if you think I'm wrong. The offenses are so similar amongst all the teams. I mean, they're all running pretty much RPOs and quick slants and quick screen passes. And do you think the offenses have gotten to the point where there's so much copycatting out there that they're like, you don't have one team would run a triple option or one team would run a veer because the running game's been practically eliminated from the importance of college football and football in general. You see what I'm saying? Do all the offenses sort of look alike to you?
Well, I get your point. I mean, it was like, 35 years ago, the wishbone was invented. And then the split back veer, there was some really innovative things that hit football. And it would take the defenses like 4 or 5 years to catch up with them. And it's kind of like now they've invented everything that can be invented. The team that is successful are the ones who can run the football and have a quarterback who can really throw the ball when he has to on 3rd down. And if you're missing either one of those things, defenses have caught up. The one thing I will say that you hardly ever see anymore, unless you watch the service academy or something, you don't see 3 backs in the backfield. You don't see a lot of big personnel out there. So everybody's playing speed and length on defense. And you'll see some exciting plays on offense, but you're not seeing, the back-breaking plays. The 50-yard touchdowns and all that is frequently because defenses have gone more speed. And they're getting out the quarterbacks, and they're not playing with big old 380-pound nose tackles. They're putting guys out there that can get to the quarterback and perimeter players that can make open field plays. And you're right, I think it really has changed. And I think right now we're sort of stuck in a little period, but there'll be somebody, who'll come up with something a little bit innovative, and it'll start to catch on, I guess. We always have. But I think you're exactly right.
Well, and you're the perfect person for me to make this final point or final request, because you being a lifelong defensive coach, after watching so much football, especially the NFL, I hate zone coverage. I hate it. And I don't know why anybody runs zone coverage. I would rather take my chance with a 6-man rush, or at least a 5-man rush or 6-man rush, and man up everybody across the board, as long as I got enough people to cover everybody, and take my chances versus continually watching these quarterbacks who you can't touch, stand in the pocket for 4 seconds, and throw to a wide open receiver
because, some guy playing a zone thinks the guy behind him is covering that area. Inevitably, he doesn't, and it leads to a wide open catch. See my point? I hate zone coverage. Can we do away with zone coverage?
Well, I mean, if you do away with it totally, you're falling right into the trap. And if you watch some of the NFL teams, a lot of them are playing more zone than you think they are. Now, they match up zone. They don't go drop on the spot on the field and wait for the ball to be thrown and break on it like we did back in high school. But they're playing zone concepts. And the more athletic the quarterbacks get, I think people will realize you either got to play zone or you better have a spot, like a hole player we used to call it, where one of the safeties is dropping in the middle of the field and the other one's got the deep middle or whatever, and they play man free around it. Somebody's got to have eyes on the quarterback or they break out for these 15, 18, 20-yard runs. So, hell, that's a safer play than throwing it down there that far. We played a lot of zone field when I was there, and I know it's longer than we think it was. It's a lot longer than we think it was.
And, Coach, you have to realize Phil is not condemning zone defense in college football. He's upset about the Packers playing zone defense in the NFL. That's really the root of the problem.
Well, I think they're sick. Some of them don't know how to keep zone stuff. They play so much man and so much blitz and all that. They don't work on zone coverage, and then they try to run the game plan. It's got too many holes in it. If you got guys who can get to the quarterback, you can play zone coverage and be reasonable effective. You'll give up a bunch of 5 and 8, 10-yard balls, but you can eventually keep them from getting explosive plays. If you don't get explosive plays in the pros, you won't put up points. You have that explosive play. You cannot move the ball in that league. And that's the way the top level of college is getting. Too many great athletes on the field on defense. And so you'll see them give up yardage and everything. But you'll see the teams that don't panic when that happens. And you always end up keeping them off the board.
Hey, real quick, were you at South Carolina when Jair Alexander committed to the Gamecocks?
Well, I don't remember who that is.
Cornerback, he was from outside of Charlotte. He decommitted, went to Louisville after Spurrier made his comments about only coaching like 2 or 3 more years. He was in that group of 7 that decommitted. The reason I bring this up, he plays for the Packers.
Yeah, I was not there. I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, he plays for the Packers. And he's one of the best corners. He's been hurt a lot. But anyway, Sunday in Charlotte, he was not a team captain, but he went out for the coin toss with the other team captains and actually made the call for the Packers on the coin flip. He wasn't supposed to be out there, but he went out there because he's from Charlotte. And so the Packers suspended him for a game for action detrimental to the team. He almost messed up their coin toss. I didn't know if you had recruited him because he was originally committed to South Carolina. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Just another thing with the Packers was going on this year.
Yeah, he walked out with the captains. He wasn't one of the captains, and he actually called the flip. The head was there. He could do it. He was not told he could do it. No. Oh my God. No. Hey, we gotta go. Yeah.
Well, we're almost winning.
Thank you, sir. We'll talk to you around the national championship game. We'll be right back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Not as chilly this evening with a low dipping to 45. Tomorrow we'll start off with some clouds, but get nicer as the day moves along. Look for a sunshine-filled afternoon and a high of 61. Friday and the whole weekend looks very nice, but cooler with highs in the 50s and lows in the low 30s. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Have you had a brick and windshield complement to those South Carolina roads? The insurance company might try to steer you one way, to the big national guys. But remember, it's your choice. Go local. Call Absolute Glass.
We can repair your car back to factory specifications, including recalibrating all of your safety systems. We do great work and have been building long-lasting relationships for years.
That's why we've been voted Best Glass Company in Lexington for 13 straight years. Visit us online at AbsoluteGlassing.com or call us at 951-7200. And remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
That's on news. I'm Keith Peters reporting pro-Palestinian protesters briefly blocked entrance roads to airports in New York and Los Angeles on Wednesday forcing some travelers to set off on foot to bypass the jammed roadways. As U.S. Airlines contended with a rush of holiday travel, the demonstration snarled traffic on the outskirts of New York's John F. Kennedy International Airport and the Los Angeles International Airport. A total of 62 people were arrested during the two protests. The mayors of Chicago, New York, and Denver renewed pleas for more federal help in coordination with Texas over the growing number of asylum seekers arriving in their cities by bus and plane. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 111 points, the Nasdaq rose 24, the S&P 500 advanced 6, oil down to $74.11 a barrel. This is SRN News.
There's more than one kind of customer when it comes to Shooter's Choice. First, there's the customer who knows what's what, has a pretty good idea of what he or she likes. You're looking for a few things. First, a good selection. Yep, Shooter's Choice has a huge selection. Firearms, ammo, accessories, optics, even gun safes. You're looking for good and fair pricing. Oh yeah, Shooters has been around as your local stop forever because they treat you right. And how about customer service? Absolutely the best you'll find anywhere. The folks who work at Shooter's Choice are shooters and hunters just like you. They know their products. They can answer your question. And that brings me to the other type of customer. Someone maybe more like me. No expert for sure, but wants to learn from the right people. I don't need some big box store guy who works in the shoe department half a week, sporting goods the other half. I need the experts at Shooter's Choice who will treat me right, answer my questions as simple as they might be. They'll make my experience excellent. Online, it's shooterschoicesc.com or visit them in person on Sunset Boulevard in West Columbia. Make it your first choice, your best choice. Make it Shooter's Choice.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, at Capital City Professional Services, and let me help you through your tax needs. I can help with all your tax resolution issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 400-8683. Hey, honey, do you remember if Dad took his meds this morning?
No, I'm not sure.
He isn't either. Keeping up with his meds is overwhelming.
You know, True Pharmacy packages medication. They showed me a sample, and it even separates them by date and time of day.
Something like that would be really helpful for Dad and for me.
Even better, it's free, just for being their customer. True Pharmacy, 1628 Charleston Highway and 3217 Devine Street. Or TrueRxSC.com.
Hey, it's Jay with the Cigar Militia, Columbia's premium cigar store. I am here to help you. How hard is it to come up with some gift ideas for Dad? Well, first get Mom's permission and then stop by and see us. And we don't just have cigars, we have all the accessories, lighters, cutters, ashtrays. Come in and check out our huge humidor. And did I mention we also have very comfortable leather chairs that you can sit in while you enjoy your cigar or hike? We're at 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard.
Hey, y'all, my name's Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. With the holidays approaching, people are looking for places to hold large parties. Flight Deck Restaurant has what you need. We have 4 different rooms that can accommodate groups from 12 all the way to 120 people. As long as you eat dinner with us, Flight Deck does not charge a raw fee for the room. Flight Deck Restaurant can accommodate wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners, Christmas parties, birthday parties, anniversary parties, civic organizations that need to have a regular place to meet. Flight Deck Restaurant is a full-service restaurant and we can provide audio-visual equipment. Please consider Flight Deck Restaurant in Lexington. Thanks, Sean. God bless.
All right, you got a quick story about calling the coin toss from your days with Coastal Carolina this year?
I do. As part of my job as a sideline reporter for the radio network, I walk out and we get the opening coin toss live on the radio, and I walk out with the team captains, and I always stand beside Sam Pinckney because Sam is the guy who makes the coin toss every week for the Chanticleers when they're on the road. Obviously, he doesn't have to do anything at home. Well, after the UCLA game, Coastal lost, I think it was 6 or 7 consecutive games where they didn't get the coin toss right. And Sam and I started joking about it because it almost became comical. And he kept calling tails. You know, tails never fails. So it failed consistently. It was always heads or the other team called and then they won the toss. So I joked with him while we were out in Hawaii. I said, Sam, since we're out here, 5,000 miles from home, you need to change things up. Why don't you call heads? And sure enough, Sam is as nice, humble a guy as he is, who, by the way, was another one who declared for the NFL draft today, but in doing so after his team played. So I've got major respect for a player doing that as opposed to the Boston College offensive lineman who, with them kicking off in the morning at 11 o'clock, just announced he's going to opt out. I'm sure the BC folks are excited about that. But anyway, back to Sam. So Sam said, I'll do it. And I was like, oh, boy. No one was more nervous going out for the coin toss than me, because if he were wrong, it'd be my fault. Well, sure enough, he calls heads. They flip the coin, and, of course, it lands on tails. So had he stuck with his normal game plan, he would have gotten the coin toss right. But Coastal, it didn't seem to affect his play. But, yeah, I need to stop trying to influence kids and make friends, because it just failed miserably on that.
Wow. That's why it's called chance, right? You got a 50-50 chance no matter what you do. There's no logic to it or anything like that. All right, let's switch gears for a moment, talk a little high school basketball, as we like to do on Wednesday nights. We welcome in Coach John Combs, former basketball coach, now the AD at Spring Valley High School. A little hooping and hollering on this Wednesday night. And, Coach, hope you had a great Christmas. Happy holidays, happy New Year. And, man, it's a big time in South Carolina. We got
Grace Christian out of North Carolina, and that's notable because Grace Christian has Sarah Strong, who's considered the #1 player in women's basketball for the class of 2024, with Joyce Edwards, who's considered a second-ranked team. It's a good battle going on. I think they're at halftime now there at River Bluff High School. I think Joyce has had a decent game. Sarah Strong, she had 12 points in the first quarter, hit 3 threes. I think half of the Gamecock women's basketball team is there, and it sounds like the coaching staff is all there. And that's just the girls' basketball. Later on tonight, I think at 8:40 at River Bluff High School, you're going to have Ridgeview taking on River Bluff High School, and that's going to be, this is just day one of the Chick-fil-A Classic, so that's a great way to get things started today over there.
The beach ball going on as well, tipping off down in Myrtle Beach. I was talking to a friend of mine who's been going to it for years and years and years. It's come under new ownership in recent years, new leadership. I don't know. His opinion was maybe a little bit of a drop-off there with the beach ball, like one of the original national tournaments, which for years dominated the high school basketball tournament landscape this time of the year. What is your opinion? Do you sense any drop off there as a Chick-fil-A, and maybe a little bit prejudiced because you're here in the Midlands, but has a Chick-fil-A kind of surpassed the beach ball as the premier event maybe in the country with the teams they bring in?
Well, I will tell you, so it is a worthy discussion to have, and it probably depends on from year to year. I mean, I'm sitting here just looking at the Beach Ball Classic, the game schedule. I mean, I know later tonight, 8:45, Norcross out of Georgia is playing Lexington High School, and that's going to be a battle that's got national implications. I mean, there's people from all over. You could probably really go from year to year which one is the better event. The beach ball is to me kind of like the granddaddy of it all. I mean, it's the one that most people would probably look at it as the premier high school basketball event for a long time, and the Chick-fil-A Classic just recently. I say recently, now I feel like I'm getting old. I mean, it is now. Probably got started with 2005 or somewhere right around there. I mean, it's very much a rival of the event, and probably depending on the year, some years probably the Chick-fil-A is a little bit better than the beach ball.
What goes into getting teams to come to these events? What do the guys have to go through to get teams, high level teams, highly ranked national teams to come in?
Well, there's a lot of things, and the short answer, a lot of it is it's money. I mean, and what I mean by money, that could be money to pay some of these teams their travel.
It's not real cheap to fly from Arizona to South Carolina. Then do you put them up in a hotel? Do you provide meals? And sometimes some of these programs, they reach out to you and say, that's a great environment. They want to be a part of something special. Like I said, some of these places have really good events, but the environment's not really good. The crowd's not great, but they provide great amenities. A lot of this is relationship building. I know when we first got Oak Hill Academy to come to the Bash years ago, or when we first, right before we just called it the Bash, we went up to Oak Hill twice and developed a relationship with then former coach Steve Smith, and they really loved coming here. They came here and had a great time, and like I say, sometimes it's money, sometimes it's relationships, sometimes it's people want to travel. That's the great thing about this time of the year in high school basketball. Kids love to travel. Most coaches love to travel. They love to take their team on the road, compete against the best. I mean, you're getting to compete against high-level competition. Coach Barry Harris Lexton always talk about playing against Kobe Bryant, back in the day. I mean, those are the type of things, Greg Collegiate may want to talk about when they played Zion Williamson when he was really good back in the day when Zion broke out at the Chick-fil-A Classic. You just never know what you're going to see, and there's a lot of great things that go into getting these teams to come in.
Hooping and hollering here tonight on Sports Talk. John Combs, our special guest. And, Coach, you talked about the teams coming in, but how important at the Chick-fil-A and at the beach ball is it for our teams here in South Carolina, and not necessarily to win the tournaments because the amount of talent there makes it awfully difficult, but we've got some really good basketball here in South Carolina. So how important is it for our teams to have good showings in these events with region play coming up here in just a couple of weeks?
Well, we've got a bunch of outstanding teams here in the state, and we're also very prideful. We don't want to just come in here and, play well. They will play to win. I mean, I promise you when Great Collegiate plays, they're playing to win the event. They're not playing just to win one game. Same with Lexington High School. When they played Norcross and out of Georgia, which would be an outstanding test for them, they're playing to win it. It is a measuring stick. Back when, years ago and before social media, you just heard about people. And now you get to see the video of all these teams play. And you think you're pretty good, but you want to play, you want to put yourself on the map. You want to put South Carolina on the map saying that we're pretty good basketball stay here as well. So these coaches, these players, they're ultra competitive. They play against each other on the AAU circuit. They play against each other in the showcase events. So it is very important, prideful to want to play well, getting ready for a region play coming up soon.
So Chris touched on region play. You just mentioned region play. So is that kind of where we are now? We're going to get through the rest of December, go back to school after New Year's, I guess maybe a few days into January. And then when do we get into the heat of the region competition across the state?
Well, most people will start region play, really about a week after the first of the year. I think some may play. They may play a game on region game January 5th, which I believe is that Friday. Some may wait until that next Tuesday. But once the calendar turns the new year, it's pretty much 95% all region play. You might have the Martin Luther King Day Classic games and occasional showcase here and there. But then, this is what you're preparing for. This is why some of these teams are playing against high-level showcase events, high-level tournaments, because they want to do at their best for region play, because that's what determines whether you make the playoffs or not. You want to win a region championship. You want to give yourself a great seed going into the state playoffs to give yourself the best opportunity to show well in the state playoffs. So this is the time you want to play your best basketball.
It's pretty amazing how quickly region play flies by, because you look up, you got January and a little bit of February, and then you into the state tournament about mid-February, right?
Oh, absolutely. You've got a month and some change of region play. That's it. So you start January 5th. I want to say the last regular season date is like February 9th. February, somewhere right around there, and then the first round of playoffs starts. So, you really got just a little over a month, maybe a month and 2 weeks, month and a week, and then the state playoffs start. So it does go by very, very quick, because you're playing 2 times a week typically. You're playing on the Tuesday, Friday. You might have an occasional off night. Outside of that, it goes on real quickly.
We're looking forward to it. And listen, we appreciate you being with us tonight. Looking forward to cracking it up next week. A region play will be, like you said, right around the corner when we meet with you next week after the holiday. Happy New Year to you. We look forward to some more hooping and hollering next week. And thank you, Coach. I appreciate it.
Hey, y'all thank y'all very much. Happy holidays, and wish everybody go out and go see some high school basketball this weekend. A lot of great going on tournaments this weekend all across the state. Thank you.
Absolutely. And we'll talk some college basketball with you, too, because it's going pretty well in a couple of 3 places around the state to this point. So talk to you next week, Coach.
Thank you very much. Y'all take care.
Thank you. All right, Coach John Combs. Going to hit the break on Sports Talk, and we'll come back and hear from Chris Rumpf, wrapping up with some recruiting notes and some final thoughts as we go to the break. Who's going to get the Mayo Bath? West Virginia leading North Carolina 17-10. Virginia Tech has beaten Tulane today. Virginia Tech 41-20 over Tulane. Be back with Chris Rumpf comments in a moment. We're with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer, let's say I'm out in the woods or I'm on the water and I need to reach a DNR agent. How do I do that?
Operation Game Thief, Phil. It's been around 30-plus years. You can call us at our 24-hour hotline any time of day, 1-800-922-5431. To report wildlife violations or to get help if you're in trouble in the woods or on the water, call us at Operation Game Thief, 1-800-922-5431.
Look no further than Founders Federal Credit Union for all your mortgage loan needs, whether you're a first-time home buyer or upgrading your space. Founders has many loan options to fit your lifestyle and your budget, such as low fixed and adjustable rate and flexible terms. Plus, Founders never charges PMI, private mortgage insurance. Our mortgage loan officers are here to answer your questions and help you start the home buying process. Stop by an office or visit foundersfcu.com to apply for a mortgage today. Federally insured by NCUA, membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply. Equal housing lender.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Hosteller-Brown. Do you know the difference between a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust? The difference could easily save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in long-term care costs. Visit LawyerLisa.com to schedule a consultation today.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, South Carolina.
Honey, give me your trust.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with the family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at sccattle.org. Beef, it's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff Program.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Touchstone Energy Cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
Okay, today, after Clemson's practice, made a number of players available, and they also made available, for the first time, one of their new additions on the coaching staff, defensive end coach Chris Rumpf. First time he has talked with the media since returning to Clemson. Here is some of what he had to say to the media after this afternoon's practice.
Back here and back in the rooms. Man, like around the bicycle. No, it's just been really good. Man. Yes, really good. Coach Sweeney and staff and the players were really welcoming. And so we jumped right in and got right into it. He didn't give me any chance. I'm like, hey, what do you mean? We're like, tomorrow. I'm like, oh, man. So, yeah. Excited to be here, man. And get back going again, coaching these guys. I'm excited for the whole game. So, I'm not some rust off, but I'll be fine. The guys going to head down.
Chris, we saw you get right after it. First practice that we were all out there. How would you describe your coaching style?
Well, just, my philosophy is coaching hard, living hard. So I'm going to coach hard every day, everything. Whether it's football, life, coach hard, because I know it's coaching.
You have the guys in yet?
No, sir. What are your first impressions of some of the talent you have? Oh, very impressive. I mean, that's some young guys that can really grow. I'm excited for it. To see these guys grow and get better each day.
What was the process of deciding, the NFL, don't want to coach there anymore, I'd like to go back to college, why did you get it up?
Just people, just the places that my wife and I were talking about. If we made that move back, we would go instead of, waiting to go back to another team. And once this opportunity came up to no brainer.
What was Coach Sweeney's sales pitch when he came to you?
It really wasn't, he had to say, I've been here before, I knew it was here, knew the program was, people that was involved with it, so I was excited.
I said he wanted for you to transition from Coach Hall to you as far as the players are concerned. Have they made a pretty seamless transition?
Yeah, they try. It's probably hard on me because I'm used to telling guys to do this, and they're able to do it. So I'm catching myself sometimes and realizing what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with some 18-year-olds instead of some 30-year-olds.
Kevin said he wanted to hire you back in 2017. Maybe it wasn't the right time. Is that right? Did he contact you?
That's interesting. I'm looking at. You don't have to tell you that story.
Wait, when you're the first time you heard this, you've been to so many different places in the college ranks and now the pros. What do you think you are? How do you change as a coach in the last time?
I don't think I've changed much. I'm still gonna be the person I am. Just anything you just understand the meaning of relationships and how important it is, the right kind of people.
So when you come in, you're into the group of kids you didn't recruit. Did you watch any film, or did you just want to say, I want to see them out at practice and let that be my idea of who they are?
You watch some things that they're doing and some of the improvements that they need, but then you just go out there and just put your hands on them and see what you can have.
So you're losing a couple of guys like XT and Justin, but are there any of these youngsters that have kind of already caught your eye, and who and why?
I don't want to say the names yet. Watch out.
I'm sorry, but wasn't able to get a shot of your face when you first started talking, but everybody talked about it. Yeah, I need to see your face to put it on TV. Oh no, they're lying to you. The first day that we got to see you at practice, we saw that fire and that energy that you brought, and your kids instantly talked about how much they love it and they appreciate it. You talk about that fine balance that it takes of adding the fire, but loving on them just as much so they know where it's coming from.
The first thing I saw you guys over, so I tried to move all the way over. So whatever mic I use is put that on good. I'm just coaching the guys. And I just got that out there, just excited to be back with them again. Anytime you're around these guys, there's some energy and just go and smart coaching hard. And you don't know what I'm coming from. I'm concerned about them for more than just football. And when you get back,
How about the relationship between you and Easton and what you guys do together?
I mean, it's funny, man. Nick was talking years ago when I was in the pros. He was in the pros. I was in college, and I was like, man, I'm gonna come back to college. I said, I don't know, man. You gotta do this. He said, no, I'm not coming. And all of a sudden, switch. I'm going to pros. He went back to college, and then we started talking. He's like, man, it's good ice over here, man. I said, really? So it's a good relationship. It's good to me. Both of us speaking the same language.
Was there something about pro football that you had reached a point where you were like, maybe this isn't where I want to spend the rest of my coaching days. I'd like to get back to the college level?
Again, it has its pros and cons. College has its pros and cons. But at the end of the day, if you guys are misplaced back at home, you want to people to see your face and talking to you and all that stuff. Just showing me so much.
want to win. So anything I touch, put my hands on, I want to win. So I'm excited about it. So I want to win.
And when you look at this team, so you've been on some good teams. You've been around some great programs out of Tennessee. You now have had some practices. What about this program? What do you see?
I think I've never been around a bunch of interior guys that rush the pass and as these guys inside.
You still say good thoughts.
I had to get that in there at the very end.
Easy.
He gave me a go Tigers. Gave me a go Tigers as he was walking away. Well, look, he was a Gamecock as a player and as
no, I get that.
And he
part.
coached at South Carolina. Yeah.
About the little off-color comment he made as well.
Oh, what was that?
Had a little curse word he dropped in there, unless I misheard.
Well, I didn't hear. I didn't catch. He did take a shot at those of us on the radio saying, he had a face for radio. That's when I saw that. I said, wait a minute now. Wait a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, a couple of quick recruiting items here before we wrap it up. Recruiting brought to you by Seawells. Of course, they remain closed until after the new year, so you will have to anticipate what's coming up in 2024. And you need the best in the catering business to help you with your big event in 2024. Just give the folks at Seawells a call at 803-771-7385. Online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. Just a couple of quick little items here. USC offered Miami of Ohio transfer Gage Lavardian. So that this is a wide receiver that they apparently, not apparently, that they are interested in. Coming out of Miami of Ohio, team that won their bowl game. He is a native of Louisiana, Donaldsonville, 5'10", 165. And let's see what he did stats-wise while he was there with the Red Hawks. In his career, he had played in 10 games this year, 42 catches, 679 yards, 6 touchdowns. He averaged over 16 yards per catch. So he must be a I had to look up some more history on him. He was only at Miami of Ohio for 1 year. He transferred from Southeastern. He was at Southeastern Louisiana, and then he transferred to Miami of Ohio. And now he would be a transfer again, and because of the rules, he can do that without penalty. So South Carolina has made him an offer. Former Clemson receiver Frank Ladson is transferring for a third time. For a second time. Clemson to Miami, and now Miami to Massachusetts. So former Clemson receiver Frank Ladson still looking for a happy place. Didn't play very much at Miami. He thought maybe going home would be a good move for him after leaving Clemson. He's from the Miami area. Didn't turn out to be the case. And there you go with recruiting. Couple of quick notes on this Wednesday night. Chris, welcome back. You got a lot of things to get off your chest when you get a chance to?
Yes, actually I wanted to comment on Peyton Wilson and the NC State guy, but we can save this until tomorrow. I just want college players to start being honest with us and stop talking about how you're opting out to prepare for the NFL draft, and then you're actually going to show up and be on the sidelines with your team for your bowl game. Just say, I don't want to get hurt in the bowl game.
We'll be in the gym working out, Thank you, Josh Cohen. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow.